If you have a marketing team that's busy, but nothing's really moving, it's not a team problem, it's a leadership problem. Hi, welcome to Unearth with Shelly Hughes podcast. I'm Shelly Hughes. In this podcast, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about running and growing a profitable, passionate brand. We talk about the wins, the losses, and everything in between of what it takes to really grow the brand of your dreams. And today we're talking about marketing without the BS. Let's unearth what actually constitutes marketing and what that should be and what that should look like for you. I feel like lots of marketing right now is just noise. And I'm sure you've realized this in the past and you've felt this in the past, this overwhelm of you feel like you have to do everything. You know, a friend over here is doing digital ads and they're doing it really well. And a friend over here is killing it on social media. And a friend over there is just like networking their asses off and they're getting a ton of leads through that. And then there's, everything else that grows from that, right? There's marketing and everyone says you need SEO, you need to show up on Google. You're not alone, right? Today, I want to go through exactly what marketing without the BS means. It's something that us as a company, we really stand by because we don't sell services, right? When a client comes to us and they say, hey, we want digital advertising, I say, okay, what if you don't, right? What if there's something else that maybe you've done digital advertising for a long time and it's giving you decent results, but something that I always want to make sure we do with our clients in the business is to say, okay, I don't really know what you need yet, and most likely you don't either. It depends. Sometimes we work with clients that have, marketing directors and they really do know like the ins and outs of what's going on. But sometimes we're working directly with founders and there is no founders or CEOs or COOs and there is no marketing lead. And so we're doing this right now with a client. It's a government contract with a organization within Pennsylvania, and they put out this RFP that we're talking to them about, and it laid out exactly what they thought that they need. And in the proposal, we literally have put in there, you're getting a lot of proposals. This one's different. Hang with us. And we go into how the RFP really doesn't make sense for what they need, how we recommend a different direction. And in there, literally in the proposal, it's saying like, you might think that we're crazy, but here's the thing. We're here to lead. Checking off boxes isn't going to leave the legacy that you want for your company or for this organization specifically. So today, we're talking about why marketing feels so murky and trying to clear up the fog a little bit. I feel like founders are stuck so much in these loops, right? We're talking about buzzwords, we're talking about algorithms, we're talking about content calendars, but there's no real traction or like direction. And here's the thing, people feel like marketing is expensive. The people and the business leaders that feel like marketing is expensive are exactly the ones that I want to talk to today. Because marketing shouldn't, well, let me take a step back. Yes, marketing is expensive, but it's only when marketing becomes overhead is when it gets actually expensive. And so here's why that is, right? You don't have to do everything. And, when marketing at the same time is all about empathy. It's about showing up to where your audience is. Well, first of all, it's about defining your audience, number one, and not just defining them as the demographics and not just defining them as clients or customers that you've had in the past. It's figuring out who is your ideal audience? Who is your ideal target audience persona? Ideally, there's only one, right? And then figuring out what are their fears, their emotional state, their problems, and how can your product fix their problem. We go into something like this so deep, even on social media. This doesn't have to be a business strategy. This can also be a social media strategy. We just delivered a social media strategy for a client with through the internship project that we have. And in that social media strategy, we say, okay, this is the psychographics, the fears, the desires, the pain points of your target audience. How can social media specifically help solve those pain points? And so you can push this theory to any different channel that you want. But the point is that it's the emotional drivers that really make someone choose to buy, right? It is niching down to the person with your product and essentially creating a product for that person, right? So, before companies even begin, before founders even launch companies, it's not about, building a product first and finding someone that would be interested in it. It's narrowing in on a target niche, ideally something really, really niche, like a segment within a segment within a segment even, and then building out a product or service for that person specifically, because it's usually a segment that may be talked to, may not be talked to. But if you build a company with the person in mind first, not the product first, you'll be able to really get into the why someone is going to purchase your product. And people don't buy when they're impressed. People buy when they feel understood. So one question to really clarify your offer first and foremost, before we even get into marketing tactics, is it's kind of the singular focus. It's, what problem am I solving? And let's narrow that down to one word. What audience can I serve in the deepest way? How do I solve that problem in one sentence? And then we can talk about, what is the one platform or avenue that can help me reach the most people in this audience segment. If you can kind of define at least those first three, we'll talk about that fourth one. You're going to be really set up to making your marketing actually work and not just be noise. Some traps that we all fall into, right? And this really does come from leadership, right? A lot of times what I've noticed is leadership kind of wants to be everything to everyone, because I don't know if it comes out of fear, I don't know if it comes out of ego, whatever it is, but they feel like they have to be everything to everyone. If you're everything to everyone, you're nothing to no one. And so what you want to really do is realize that niching down isn't limiting. It's actually very freeing, right? Um, you don't have to be everywhere. You just have to be the places that matter. And honestly, high ticket items does not equal high pressure, because no one wants to feel pressured into buying what you have. So something to tie this back to client experience. So diluted messaging can really hold companies back. We had a client come in, they were a fractional CMO client that transitioned to, the agency supporting them on an execution level. But they came to us, and I was supporting them in some consulting and with another consultant on fractional CMO on the team. And we were asking them, about their target audience, and they did all this homework and they laid out their target audience. And it kind of seemed like they were kind of bashing this person, right? And I was like, that's weird. And I said, question, when someone is about to sign a contract, what is the emotion that you want them to feel? And of course, the emotion is relief, excitement, like vision, right? They're just ready for this next step in their business. And then I asked, how does this person actually feel? And the client said that they feel nervous. And it's for a reason that I don't have to get into today. But the big thing is to really make sure that you are targeting into your ideal audience and their pains and desires, and you don't dilute that message, right? We a lot of times help clients unlearn those bad habits and create those honest, effective strategies once we understand who that person is. Two, when we talk about marketing with the BS, it's all about that discovery phase, right? It's all about understanding where they live and how they spend their time. And so that will give you a lot of your answers, right? So few things that we like to say, like, okay, what does their day look like from 5:30 in the morning till 10:30 at night? What does their day look like? Who do they talk to? Who do they meet with? What kind of content do they ingest? What kind of magazine do they pick up? Do they drive to work? Do they take the train to work? Okay, so if they drive to work, maybe or do they walk to work, right? Or do they work from home? If we think that this person, your ideal audience, works from home, they probably don't have a ton of time to listen to a ton of podcasts, maybe. But if they're driving or they're on the train, maybe podcasting is really the way to go for some of your content and to put some of your dollars behind. So, and I go back to this, right? It's funny because a lot of my advisors have told me in the past to niche down. And here's the thing about advisors. I don't always listen to them when they give advice. When they give technical advice and I have a specific question, a lot of times I will. But if they're giving advice, I typically don't listen to them. And 90% of the time, I'm glad I didn't. And one of the things that I have been told over and over again is, Shelly, you have to niche down your services. You are too many people. You have a lot of overhead, all these different things. And while some of that is correct, it's actually developing such a better product for our client. Because what I don't want to be is I don't want to sell a service, like I said at the top of this episode. I don't want to be a digital marketing company where maybe, we offer an RFP or we get an RFP and we're a digital marketing company. What do you think I'm going to try to sell you? SEO, digital ads, all that kind of stuff. If I'm a social media company, what am I going to sell you? I'm going to say, oh, you need to get on social. If I'm a PR agency, what am I going to sell you? Oh, you need public relations. You need really to have those in real life activations and all this kind of stuff. So I feel like there's a huge bias when certain agencies really niche down, because they're only going to sell you what they have to sell you. Where here, I want to make sure that we are very much marketing without the BS. We're not going to sell you a service because we don't even know what you need. We also aren't going to sell you a service that you don't really understand yourself. So that's why we really are a CMO-led marketing studio. We are, we do strategy first. You have a dedicated fractional CMO, and then we can kind of figure out, okay, what actually do you need to help you solve this problem? So that's all about marketing with BS. It's about giving yourself permission to really market with meaning and make sure that you're not just adding to the noise of social media and digital ads and that kind of stuff, but you're coming at it and you're really being algorithm proof with your content. So that's what I have to say today. I appreciate you listening. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend or, leave a review and rating for this episode. And we have a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of cool episodes coming up. I want to talk about the death of the millennial brand. That's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks. I want to talk about scaling and kind of some of the hardest things about scaling a business that no one really talks about. We have some really great guests coming on the episode, which will be really fun. So definitely stick around. Definitely hit that follow button. And I can't wait to talk to you more. See ya.